Hi, so today I just want to talk about some relationship red flags and green flags. So this is about like real world relationships, whether you're married, separated, dating, recovering from, a recent divorce or anything like that. And I just want to bring some awareness around the area because if we're kind of just going on autopilot and no one's really giving us the 101 on what a healthy relationship looks like and what an unhealthy relationship looks like, we're not really going to be able to pick up on some of those subtle red flags, that come up early. So if we're able to pick up on those things and we're able to like pinpoint them and identify them right from the get-go, then we can avoid like years and years of just a doomed relationship. And maybe it will also help you to prevent divorce, right? So if you can identify those things and communicate them to your partner, and maybe they can register that information and make a change and improve the relationship, that might be good too, right? Because sometimes if we don't know that these things are red flags, we'll tolerate them, we'll make excuses for them, but then it'll prevent us from really having a really great relationship with that person. It's going to bring up a lot of resentment, a lot of just not feeling good with that person, having anxiety, things like that, all the while knowing that we're not doing anything wrong. We're just tolerating things that we should not accept, and that this person is just being foul or like they're not being straight with you. So I want to go over some of the red flags that I made a list of here. And all right, so I'm just going to go and get right into it. So these are some of the patterns that I've noticed in some of relationships that I've been in and other relationships like that I've noticed other people being in, and what I think, over all my years of, dating and being in a relationship that I think I can share. So these are some of the things. All right. So blame shifting. So instead of addressing toxic behavior, your partner would make it seem like you're the problem. So if something happens, maybe like you're out with his friends or out with his family and someone like makes a rude comment to you or something like that, they will kind of just like make it seem like, well, it was because of you. It's because maybe how something that you said or something like maybe your facial expression, or they'll just try to basically make the blame on you, put the blame on you. So basically the way you reacted or the way you're interpreting it is they're trying to say like you're too sensitive, or maybe like, oh, you took that the wrong way, or that's just how my family is. Like they'll try to make excuses. Another thing is narrative control. Reframed boundaries as you being scary, mean, or difficult. Attack your character instead of the behavior. So for example, like they'll reframe the narrative about you. So they'll try to paint you as like the black sheep, or like this difficult person, or like, you're just mean, or like, anything like that, instead of saying, like, I get where you're coming from, or, my family's messy, they've always been toxic, or yeah, they just have really bad behavior and I get where you're coming from. They'll just try to rewrite the narrative and make excuses. And they'll attack your character instead by saying, oh, well, you're just really awkward, or you're just, too sensitive, or anything like that. You just don't know how to get along with people. Like they'll try to attack your character instead of like saying like, they're messy and, I don't know, they always act that way. And instead of like kind of seeing where you're coming from and seeing what the accountability for their friends or their partner's actions, or not their partner, but you know what I mean? Like their family, or the family dynamic is messy and stuff like that, or the friends are just immature and like not really standing up for your senior point of view. So those are some red flags. Another thing is conflict avoidance disguised as being easygoing. So refuse to confront family or address dysfunction, prioritize peacekeeping over protection. So that's another red flag. So instead of like telling the family member, you guys need to like, when my partner comes in, can you guys please address her, be nice to her, respectful to her, things like that. Instead of doing that, they'll sweep the bad behavior under the rug just to try and make peace, just to try to fit in with everybody, right? So they'll prioritize keeping peace instead of emotionally protecting your feelings or how you feel when you're within that family dynamic, right? Or they'll say that they'll address it, but then they never end up addressing it. They'll act one way with you, and then the pattern remains the same. So they refuse to address the dysfunction or the toxic family dynamic. Another violation is boundary violations. So trying to take over your home or parenting routines. That's if you share children. Didn't respect my house, my rules, pushed for access, and pushed for access. So this is like if you're like have a partner and they come to your house and they try to like make the rules, they try to like tell you what to do, or like try to like set the rules when they come to your house. Like, no, like when you come to my house, we're not married, it's still my house, this is still your house, like, you know what I mean? We're not even married yet. I mean, if we can't get these things out of the way, marriage is definitely out the window. So when somebody comes to your house, they have to kind of like go with your flow, like if my bedtime for my kids are at 9 o'clock and yours is at 10, when you come to my house, that's the rule. If you know what I mean, that's just, they have to be respectful of that. They can't just impose their rules or what they want when they come to your house. That's really toxic behavior. They have to be able to be in agreement with you and not just trying to rule over you, right? So that's another red flag. Another red flag is minimization of harm. So if they say it's not a big deal, just let it go, don't stay mad, right? That's another example of them minimizing your feelings and not protecting you emotionally, right? They try to paint you as this drama queen, right? And what the other person's behavior is acceptable, right? Even though if somebody does something, says something, like you come in and if they don't even address you, they ignore you, like the friends of their family, but like they expect you to, like, when you see them, to say hi to them. Like, no, that is just not healthy. That's not a healthy relationship. It should be balanced. It should go both ways, you know what I mean? And you shouldn't have to constantly try to fit in to please people that aren't trying to fit in with you. So if they can't see that, or if they see that and they don't address it and they just want you to still continue in that cycle, then that's a major red flag. And if like you bring it up to them and they're like, oh, that's not a big deal, I don't know what you're talking about, like, and they brush it off, that's a red flag right there, girl. So another red flag is mixed roles. Wanted emotional sexual access while avoiding accountability. Let me say that again. Wants emotional or sexual access while avoiding accountability. Tried to stay embedded in your life after incompatibility was clear. Okay, so this is basically like saying, if basically you guys pretty much have ended things, but for some reason you still may have to be in contact with each other, especially in the situation where if you have children and they still want emotional access to you, not just sexual, emotional. So when they call you, they'll try to like chit chat and talk about things other than the kids. They'll try to tell you about their life. They'll try to like have a conversation with you, deep conversation with you, like as if you're still together. And it's like, and they want to know what you're doing, where you're doing. They try to go to the gyms, to the places that you're going. Like they still want that access to you while not addressing any of those red flags, and still try to slowly but surely get back in with you. That's the mixed roles. So you have to be able to see what they're trying to do, early so that you don't get tangled up in that web. Right. So that's another clear red flag when someone tries to do that. It's not cool. It kind of gives stalker vibes, to be honest. Another red flag is lack of emotional safety. So you feel tense, guarded, misunderstood. Your nervous system doesn't fully relax around that person, and you didn't feel backed or protected. So yeah, so whenever if you're with a man and you start to feel like unsafe around him, like he doesn't have your back, like maybe he has everyone else's back but you. Like if you pick up on that energy or the body language or the tone of voice or the things that he says, that is a major red flag. When you start to feel like nervous or not safe going out with that person, like maybe they'll embarrass you or they'll start to treat you like less than while everybody else is treating their partner or their significant other with love and protection and affection, and you're just there and they're not really doing much. That's a major red flag. So this is what I have to say to you if you're experiencing any of this. You weren't incompatible because you're difficult. You were incompatible because you value accountability, boundaries, and loyalty. And he avoids them. That's not a personality clash. That's a serious mismatch. So going forward, when something is uncomfortable, do they take responsibility or do they redirect blame? Responsibility, if they address it, if they try to, see your point of view, figure it out, that's a green flag. If they try to change the narrative, make it like it's not a big deal, no change, and you start to feel very anxious about you're around them or when you're going to go see them, that's a green flag. I'm sorry, that's definitely a red flag right there. And everything else flows from that. So now let's talk about some of the green flags. So if everything's cool or, if you can communicate, these are the things that you need to start doing if you want to be with me, if you want this to work. These are the traits that would have made you feel safe, protected, and aligned in a relationship. Accountability. Family dynamic is messy. I should have protected you better. Owns mistakes without deflecting. Right? So he takes ownership, he sees your point of view, and he tries to, correct the mistakes that he builds because he values you, he values your safety, and he wants to make it work. He wants you to feel safe around him, around his people, and he wants you to like him. He actually likes you and values you, right? And he's emotionally mature. He's a man who wants you to feel safe. He's a gentleman, right? That's what we're looking for. Loyalty. Oh my God, this should be a no-brainer, right? Especially in uncomfortable situations, not two-face, like act one way and then a different way when other people are around. So loyalty under all circumstances. No two timing, no acting switching up or anything like that. So protects you even when it's awkward, protects you even when other people are around, protects you even though it might ruffle some people's feathers, doesn't stay neutral when you're being disrespected, chooses integrity over being liked. So chooses, saying something. It doesn't have to be something like disrespectful, but actually speaking up and saying something about it. So people know, like, this is my woman. I'm not, I'm not having that. If you want me to be like your friend or me to be in the still like a part of this family and you want to have things, you have to respect her because she's with me. Right? That's a really important, mature thing to do. That's a really good green flag that you should look out for in a man. Respect for your boundaries. So accept your no the first time and not challenge it, not try to make you change your mind. Doesn't push you around in your own space, in your own home or anywhere for that matter. And doesn't guilt trip you over your limits, your boundaries, or what you expect from others, right? Emotional validation. So it says, I understand why that might have hurt you. You know, it doesn't minimize or dismiss your feelings just to try to make you brush it off. You know, so that you guys can work through it and it doesn't happen again, and that you start to feel safe with him. And takes your the things that you say seriously. Like, he really takes that stuff into account and cares and values your opinions. Clear role definition, right? Doesn't want partner privileges without partner responsibility, right? Understands the difference between co-parenting and intimacy, respects transitions instead of blurring lines, right? So doesn't expect you to do all these things, to, you know, perform all these different activities and act this way and act that way, without, while at the same time just exhibiting all these red flags and not exhibiting any of the green flags. Like, why would you offer yourself, your time, your attention, and everything else while they're not doing anything right, or not even willing to address them or change them, right? So, but if he is, then that's when you can, you know, start to give more of yourself. That's what I would say to that. So another green flag, protecting energy. Notices passive aggression, intervenes when boundaries are crossed, makes you feel emotionally defended, not exposed. So yeah, so he notices, like, you know, when someone says like something kind of like passive aggressive to you, like, oh, anything, like, you know, maybe brings up a past relationship while you're around, or, you know, things like that, just trying to get under, the person might be trying to get under your skin, or just like maybe you're there and, you know, no one like addresses you or anything like that. Like, they might notice that and then just kind of be like, hey, you know what, Lori's here, or you know what, so and so's here, I don't want to talk about that, let's talk about that later. Or yeah, this is, or like, you know, something like to just not like put you in an uncomfortable situation, you know, things like that. So he'll intervene when boundaries are crossed, when things are said, you know, or, you know, he'll like open up the table for you. He'll show acts of respect or affection towards you. He'll like bring you something to eat in front of everybody, not like have you eat last. Things like that are major green flags that shows that intervenes when boundaries are crossed, right? They can do things like that. They do things like that. So all in all, that makes you feel emotionally defended and not exposed. Those are some of the examples of some of the green flags that you should definitely look out for, and maybe speak up for yourself and communicate like that's what you want. And yeah, just like I said, if you're thinking about dating again, you know, just divorced, separated, or even married or dating somebody right now, these are some of the red flags and green flags that I would personally consider. So I just want to leave you with that. I just want to share some of my thoughts on the issue and some of the things that have really helped me in building better relationships overall. All right, so again, if you guys like this video, want to hear more from me, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.